Tricia Molloy, how are you doing today?
Doing great, thank you.
Awesome. It's great to have you on.
Great to be here.
So this podcast is a newer podcast for us, but it's called Burn the Ship. So I don't know if you've ever heard that saying. Have you ever heard burn the ship?
I have not.
So burn the ship is really a business saying, but it goes back to Hernan Cortez, the Spanish conqueror, where all his ships went into the harbor and to send a message to all the soldiers that they were going to conquer or they were just going to die. He burned every one of his ships in the harbor so they couldn't get back. So that kind of took on a new life with businesses and business owners and entrepreneurs, is burn the ship. So, we want to understand and learn how you burned your ship as well and how you did it in your business. We also wanted to learn more about you, where you're from, and who's out there that can help you, and how can our people help you. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself. I'm going to let you introduce your company, and we'll go from there.
Thank you. So yeah, Tricia Molloy. I've had a marketing business since 1988. So I would do media publicity, employee communications, just everything. And then in 2006, I wrote a book called Working with Wisdom, and I decided that I would become a professional speaker and speak about leadership. And so I thought, well, the only way that I was going to move forward with my speaking business is if I stopped doing most of my marketing, because marketing came real easy to me, and I knew it was going to be tough to build my speaking business. I needed to focus on that. So I looked at all the services that I was offering, and I decided the one thing that I didn't want to stop doing is writing testimonials for clients. And because I love that. I love being that conduit of gratitude between my clients and theirs. And so I interview my clients' clients and write the testimonials for everyone's approval. And so even when I got my speaking business going, that's the one thing that I continue to do with my marketing. So I've been doing, probably about over 1,000 testimonials over the last 25 years. And I love doing that. So I do a little bit of marketing and then a lot of speaking.
Sounds great. What did you, when you speak, what do you speak on most of the time? Because I have heard you speak, but I wanted you to tell our audience that.
Sure. So I am an expert on developing a positive mindset to reduce stress, to achieve goals, and to enjoy better balance. So I do a program called Crave Your Goals. You've probably heard that one. And CRAVE is an acronym for 5 strategies, including cleaning out the clutter and expressing thanks. And then I do one on better balance. In fact, I'm starting to do that more often for Vistage groups. And then the third one that I do is I facilitate vision board workshops. I've done that for the CDC, for employees at Verizon, and I love doing that. And once a quarter, my pro bono commitment is I do we used to do it in person, but now we do it virtually, a vision board workshop for the women that are part of the Women's Academy at Wellspring Living, which is a local organization that rehabilitates survivors of sex trafficking. So I get the pleasure of being able to share these strategies with these women who are starting over in their lives to help them visualize what the kind of life that they could step into. And so I just love doing that.
That's incredible. And the another thing is when we're talking about burn the ship is once you've burnt the ship, it's not just smooth sailing, if you will, in your business. You have to, overcome adversities. You have to, there's things that are going to come up, especially in the last, 20 years, since 9/11 happened. There's been 4 or 5 or 6 big things that's happened to knock people off course within their business. But you started your business, and if I remember correctly, you had a tragedy happen in your life that pushed you, and a lot of people could have gone negative, and you went the opposite way. And that's why I loved what you do, is because you can give people a real life experience of how to get out of their situation and get into another one. So would you talk a little bit about the tragedy that came to you, and then how you dealt with that?
Certainly. Back in 1997, my husband and I had 3-year-old twins, and I was running my marketing business, and he had a business as well. And he died suddenly of a heart attack in his sleep. And so it was a really defining moment for me when I thought about, how were we spending our time and energy? Were we really focused on what really mattered? And, once I recovered from that, I started to think in terms of what my life could look like and the strategies that I started to use. And what if I could maybe share that with other people and remind them? Sometimes when I speak, I talk about that most of us have the TAT syndrome, which I made up. It's called There's Always Tomorrow. And so many people put off, what they really should be doing and what they should be experiencing. Oh, I'll get to that at another time. And we can't depend on that. So that's been my life purpose. My focus is to inspire people to live their best life now. And I attribute that to that defining moment.
And obviously when you overcome a tragedy like that and move forward in a positive manner that you can teach people in a better way of how to, navigate through hard times, whether it be your fault or not your fault, whether it be the economy or 9/11 or 2008 with the housing market, and then now with COVID, and how do you manage your business? How do you manage your personal life through all this? How do you help your clients do that and their mindset? How do you reset their mindset to deal with those tragedies?
Yeah, so, one of the things I love to do when I speak is to tell stories. And sometimes they're stories about other people, and sometimes they're stories about myself. And one of the stories that really resonates with a lot of people is when I talk about the power of affirmations, positive self-talk. I explain that, we speak to ourselves at least 10,000 times a day. 80% of that tends to be negative because we're human and we're programmed to protect ourselves against worst case scenarios. But the good news is that we can use affirmations or positive self-talk to keep us moving in the right direction. And I share with them my story of how I started going to Toastmasters to become a better speaker, because I'd spoken with my marketing business, for a long time, but I didn't know what I didn't know. And so I started going to Toastmasters. And when I finally got up the courage to do my 5 to 7 minute icebreaker talk, I was a mess. My mouth was dry, my legs were shaking, my heart was racing. I fumbled for my note cards like I didn't know the subject, which was me. And I went through that about 3 humbling times until finally a kind evaluator said, Tricia, you've fallen in love with your words. You're a writer before you're a speaker, and you're speaking from your head instead of your heart. And so when I went back home and started to think about how can I do this differently, because this was really important to me, I decided that I would create an affirmation, which was simply, I love to speak. I really did love to speak. I just wasn't very good at it. So I started to say it to myself and out loud. I said it to my family that knew I was struggling with this. And, when I got to that next meeting, well-meaning member of the group came running over to me and said, I see you're on the agenda. You're speaking. Are you nervous? People like that. And I said, no, I love to speak, and I did a pretty good job, and I got better and better. So I say to my clients, individually when I coach them or when I'm speaking, I say, think about the skills that you need to master to achieve the goals that you crave. It could be, I love to network. I love to learn new things. I love to ask for help. Whatever that is that's keeping you from moving forward in your business, if you just start to say something as simple as that, it can really make a difference.
Which is incredible, and that's why I talk with a lot of business owners through the week. Some of them I'm doing business with. Some of them I help out with their credit card processing or their payments. But my thing is with people that are working with me is, look, we can talk about these ideas for months and months and months and months, but until we do it, we can go through all the problems in the world of what's going to happen. We're not going to know until we do it, and then we can take the problem and go, this is how we have to circumvent this next time. And my big thing is stop talking about it and do it. So how do you get your clients to go, all right, this is what I'm thinking. You've heard them 3, 6, 8 months, 12 months, 3 years. I'm still talking about doing this. Why aren't you just doing it? Just do it.
Yeah. I got some good advice a long time ago that some of us entrepreneurs, we tend to be more perfectionistic, and we just can't afford that. So I'm always saying, just try something. Failure is more data. That was another phrase that really stuck with me. Don't be afraid to fail. I don't know if the two of you do watch the master classes. Are you familiar?
I've watched a few of them. Yeah.
So one of the master classes that I just went through is the one with Sarah Blakely of Spanx, and she said that when she was growing up, her dad often at the dinner table would ask her and her brother, "What did you fail at today? What did you fail at today?" And she says, we honestly felt bad if we didn't have an answer for him, because he was saying, you're not trying hard enough. You're not taking enough risks. It's okay to fail. That's how we learn. So I try to encourage my clients to do that.
Well, so and failure to me is an education, and I got that from one of my old mentors, because I said I never had to, I never got a formal education from a college or a university, and he said, Jay, you've gotten more education than any of them because you failed so many times that all you're doing is when you're putting money towards something that doesn't work, you just got an education to that. And you paid, right. You actually literally paid for that education, those. But the other times, every time you get a no, that is an education of how to get a yes on the next time, or how to talk to that person better or more properly, or your pitch was bad, or whatever that it may be, is embrace the failure to get to the success. And I don't care what business person it is, you've had more failures than success. They might be minuscule failures, but they're still failures the same. And if you've learned from them, I'm a pretty hard-headed, so sometimes I have to learn 2 and 3 times before it works. But eventually it sets in and goes, okay, I can't do that anymore. If I put my hand on that on the eye of the stove, it will burn.
Yeah, it's a great perspective to have.
So what did you? So you have a piece of paper right there that you wanted to go over, and
one of the things I thought was helpful, as I explained, I write these testimonials, is how to use testimonials, because I'm finding that a lot of my clients are limited in their understanding of the value of testimonials. And so I put together a list of 12 ways to use testimonials. Is that what you're referring to?
100%, yes.
Okay.
Would love it.
So certainly on your website, that's a given, but also on your LinkedIn profile, where you ask the person who has provided that testimonial to submit it there. But in addition, think about the about section or even the experience section to insert there the testimonial or an excerpt from those testimonials, because a lot of times people who are checking out your LinkedIn profile will more likely look at the about section before they go to the recommendation section. Certainly review sites, and that's one of the things that I do with a lot of my clients, is I help them get their clients to copy and paste and put it onto the Google reviews and the other review sites. I work a lot with interior designers, so they use Houzz as well. And then certainly proposals and contracts and emails and advertising and a binder. So if you have a reception area, think about creating a binder of those testimonials that people waiting to see you can flip through. PowerPoint presentations, especially if you're doing any sales presentations. Certainly if you've got a blog, to think about how you can incorporate a testimonial in a blog and then write about, what that testimonial was about. Social media, one of the ways to use testimonials in social media is to create graphics of excerpts of those testimonials. And then finally, case studies, which is a kind of an extension of a testimonial where you get into much more detail. So those are the 12 that I came up with that seem like just for about any business that I can think of, all of those 12 they can start to use.
Yeah, I'll tell you, and one resonated with me, and we had to kind of scurry and do this, but COVID hit and we were on Zoom calls immediately right away, and people had to navigate through that technology, and what's the best pitch for me, and how do we do this, and that PowerPoint is super, super important to have in this day and time, because you're going to be on Zoom calls, or you better be on Zoom calls, at least once, twice, 3 times a day. So if you find yourself not doing those Zoom calls, multiple times a week, I think you got to go try to get on more. But that PowerPoint is important to have because you never know when somebody's going to want to know more, and you can just get right into the podcast, and they're asking you to pitch them. They're asking you to sell them. So if you have that ready that looks really good, you can just put it right up on Zoom right then, and you can go into your pitch, and it just helps you out with your pipeline and your sell. So
yes.
that resonates with me for sure. And then you could take that and put that right into your social media as well. A lot of these things are linked. It's not separate. Right. They're linked for sure. Well, tell us a little bit about who you're looking for. Like some of the clients you're looking for. Who are the best clients? The vertical you have typically gotten. I know a lot of people didn't choose their vertical. They just started signing those people up, or those people resonated with them more. It was easier to pitch, whatever that might be. What is that vertical? Who are you looking to get that's not in that vertical? And tell me who your retirement client is. I say that. So tell me if I got you this person, you could retire on them.
Oh, wow. Retirement client. I have to think about that. Well, when I think about ideal clients, I think business consultants, home improvement specialists, coaches, professional services. One of the things that I did early in my career with Testimonials is one of my marketing clients is a financial planning firm. And so for many years, that was like gold to them for me to interview their clients and really help set them apart from other financial advisors. Then the SEC came along and said that's promissory. You can't do testimonials anymore. But attorneys can do it. Accountants can do it. So to me, it's like if they're not doing it, they're missing out. And often they'll say, well, my clients have said that they were going to write a recommendation and they never got around to it, or they did and it was kind of flat. And so that's where I step in and make sure that those testimonials are compelling. So so those are typically the ones. And then I'm starting to develop partnerships with businesses where their clients could use this service. So think marketing specialists, website developers, groups, companies like that, where they can send me their clients and we can work out a commission as part of that.
So it's more of a referral relationship there because, look, we've done a lot of websites, and at the end of the day, it's hard to get information out of the person you're building a website for because that's not what they do. Say they own, and I want to get more specific about some of the people because you say home services or service people or so that's plumbers, electricians, builders,
interior designers
okay.
are a big market for me. I have a colleague who's an interior design coach, and so she's always recommending my services to her clients.
Yep, and since they don't do testimonials for a living, or they don't do this for a living, and the website designers sometimes are more technical. They don't have a brain for coming up with the words on the paper and doing it right where it pops off paper. So I understand where the referrals come in because it just makes their job look better. After they finish this website, it's more professional. So what I can totally understand that it's like pulling teeth, getting information out of somebody that if they're a plumber and they could have 12, 15 trucks, they could be a really big operation. But building websites and writing testimonials are not their job. It's not what they do. They manage people and they fix toilets and plumb houses, and
we all have our skills.
That's right. That's right. So how do we how does our community explain that to them that they need that service from you?
Oh, well, I think everybody can relate to when they go to make a purchase, they consider a service. Most people look at recommendations. They look at testimonials on the website. They might do a Google search. So I think it's an easy sell because they can all relate to it from that side. And then they start to think, well, what do I look like online? Are my testimonials the best reflection of me? Or do I even have any testimonials? So I think more and more people are making decisions based on written recommendations.
Awesome. Now, we definitely appreciate you sharing about your target client and who you're trying to get in front of. What are some of the other ways that you are out there networking, letting people know? I know we're in the BCN together. What are some of those other ways that you're networking?
Yes, BCN has been great, and then BNI. I visit different groups there. I haven't joined a group yet. I'm going to look at Power Core as another group. And then most of my business comes through my clients. They recommend me. And sometimes I'm interviewing a client's client and they're like, tell me about what you're doing for so-and-so. And so that just naturally just becomes another client. So it kind of builds from there.
Yeah, you're pitching while you're doing work, which is great. That's a wonderful situation to be in.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes, for sure. Well, yeah, because again, part of what we do here is just trying to make sure to continue to bring value on any way that we can. And we definitely, appreciate you sharing with us and our audience, what it is that you do. Another question we always like to ask is, what does the future look like for your business? Where are you trying to go, and what does that look like down the road a little bit?
Wow, that's always a great question to ask of an entrepreneur, because you're always looking what's next. I think the partnerships makes a lot of sense for me because it's less of me marketing it and allowing to work and support other businesses as they support their clients. Another thing that I'm looking at right now is a subscription model. So right now, the way I present you're speaking
my language now, Tricia.
Okay.
Subscription model, love it.
Yeah. So right now, somebody who's working with me, they might do, 5 or 10 testimonials. There's a slight discount for a certain amount that they commit to, but I'm asking them to do it all at one time. And in some cases, that makes sense for the business. But I'm finding that my repeat clients are more interested in providing me one at a time throughout the year when a delighted client pops up, So I'm just about to introduce a subscription model that basically says you commit to so many a year, and whenever those clients pop up, you just let me know, and then I go and I interview them. So that's just something new that I'm playing with. It's so important as entrepreneurs to listen to what a client is telling you or asking about, and making sure that when appropriate, that you're flexible enough to serve them in that way.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate you sharing that. We always ask everyone who comes on, how can the MP Group help you in any other way? So just, share with us how we can help you in any other way, and we'll try to do our best to do it. So how can we help you?
I appreciate that. I mean, referrals are great. I love the MP Group when I've attended virtual meetings. I just love the camaraderie of the group, the fun that you have. And so I plan to be more involved with that group as well. But yeah, just referrals, and, whether we create a strategic partnership or it's just a referral here or there, that's really the best way for us to work together.
Okay, thanks.
Cool. Well, thank you for coming. We enjoy talking to you for sure. You're a delight. So what I want you to do is give out your email address, how to get in contact with you, your LinkedIn, so everybody knows that, and how to engage.
Sure. So the best way to reach me in terms of my testimonial writing service is through testimonialwritingservice.com. That'll go right to that page. And my email address is Tricia, Tricia, at Molloy, MOLLOY.com. So Tricia at molloycom.com. And I think that's probably the best. And if you're interested in leadership programs, it's simply triciamolloy.com.
And what about speaking engagements?
Yeah, that's my leadership program at triciamolloy.com.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to doing this again at some point, maybe face-to-face at some point in this life. I don't know when that's going to happen, but we've been doing a few here and there. It depends on somebody's appetite, right? So
I would love that. This has been a delight. I really appreciate you inviting me on.
We appreciate it, and we'll sign off right now. And thank you for joining Burn the Ship. Everybody out there, be kind to each other.